Sean "Diddy" Combs, a towering figure in entertainment, has long been admired for his business acumen and influence. However, his life has recently taken a tumultuous turn, with legal battles over allegations ranging from sexual assault to financial misconduct. As the mogul faces intense media scrutiny, his actions while incarcerated have raised even more questions. Despite repeated denials of bail, Diddy's legal team continues to fight for his release, with the latest developments surrounding a supposed medical emergency sparking further intrigue. Many now wonder if his health complaints are genuine or part of a calculated strategy to escape his current situation. The mystery surrounding Diddy's actions continues to deepen, leaving the public questioning the truth behind his legal troubles. The dramatic escape attempt, fake medical emergency? The first hint of Diddy's alleged attempt to fake a medical issue came to light when reports surfaced in January that the mogul had been taken from the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, to a Brooklyn hospital under the cover of darkness. According to sources, Diddy claimed to be suffering from severe knee pain, potentially related to previous surgeries he had undergone over the years. His legal team, which had been struggling to secure his release on bail, argued that the mogul's medical condition required urgent attention. But the timing of this hospital visit raised many eyebrows. Why was it scheduled in the middle of the night, far outside the usual time frame for medical visits? This incident was especially curious when it occurred just hours after federal prosecutors had slapped Diddy with a superseding indictment in his federal sex trafficking and RICO case. The indictment added 2 more victims to the already mounting list of those accusing him of misconduct, while also expanding the time frame for investigators to probe alleged incidents dating back as far as 2004. This not only intensified the pressure on Diddy, but also hinted at a deliberate distraction from the looming legal storm he was about to face. The public's reaction was swift and suspicious. Was Diddy truly suffering from a medical issue, or was he attempting to escape the harsh conditions of MDC, which is notorious for its overcrowded cells, lack of proper amenities, and dangerous environment? This was the first of what would become several alleged attempts to manipulate his medical status in order to gain an advantage in his legal situation. A history of health issues. Diddy's knee problem. To understand the possible motivations behind Diddy's sudden knee issues, it's important to consider his medical history. According to reports, Diddy had been dealing with knee problems since at least 2003, when he ran the New York Marathon. The intense physical exertion from such an event likely exacerbated existing knee problems, leading to multiple surgeries over the years. The most notable of these surgeries occurred in 2017, when Diddy underwent 3 separate knee operations in the span of a single year. Diddy himself documented these surgeries on social media, sharing a now-deleted post in which he described the pain and struggle of his recovery. He expressed gratitude for the medical professionals who helped him through the ordeal and emphasized the importance of never taking the simple things in life for granted. In his post, Diddy spoke about his personal journey of growth through pain, stating, "Sometimes you have to go through the pain to get to the joy," and acknowledging how these experiences had brought him closer to God, his family, and himself. This public sharing of his health struggles provided some context for his claims of knee pain while in detention. However, skeptics pointed out the timing of his supposed health issues. Could it be that Diddy was using his past medical history to create a convenient excuse for seeking medical attention outside the confines of the MDC? After all, it is not uncommon for high-profile inmates to exploit medical claims to secure more comfortable conditions or even gain temporary release from detention. The fact that his medical visit occurred under the cover of darkness raised suspicions even further. Behind the scenes, legal maneuvering and bail denial. Diddy's legal team has been fighting hard to secure his release on bail ever since his arrest in September. However, despite multiple requests, the mogul's bail has been denied on 3 separate occasions. His attorneys argue that Diddy's health problems, combined with the undue hardships of being held in the MDC, justify a reconsideration of his bail status. However, these pleas have thus far fallen on deaf ears. The federal government, meanwhile, has been unwavering in its stance that Diddy poses a significant flight risk and a danger to potential witnesses. This has led to Diddy being kept in federal custody for months, with little hope of an early release. But the decision to orchestrate his medical visit raises the question: was Diddy simply trying to escape the harsh conditions of MDC, or was he hoping that a perceived medical crisis could persuade the court to reconsider his detention? The fact that the hospital visit was scheduled during the night, when the facility was likely to be less staffed, has fueled further speculation. High-profile prisoners like Diddy require a heightened level of security, and it is highly unusual for any inmate, let alone someone with his status, to be taken out of the prison without prior authorization and during non-regular hours. Questions about protocol. Was this a setup? As the details of Diddy's medical visit began to leak, questions quickly arose about the lack of transparency and proper protocol surrounding the event. According to Dr. Dwayne Hendricks, the deputy warden at MDC, the usual procedure for medical visits at the detention center involves inmates being sent out for treatment during the day, with appointments often scheduled weeks in advance. The fact that Diddy's visit occurred in the middle of the night and without the typical prior authorization raised serious concerns about whether the proper steps were followed. Medical professionals who are familiar with the process of transporting high-profile inmates for medical care have expressed disbelief at how easily Diddy was able to leave the facility without following standard protocols. Given the nature of his legal case and his high public profile, such a move would usually require meticulous planning and coordination to avoid drawing attention or creating security risks. Yet in this case, Diddy's exit from MDC was seemingly handled with minimal oversight, which only added fuel to the fire of skepticism surrounding the entire incident. Diddy's legal challenges, a growing storm. The situation surrounding Diddy's supposed medical emergency came at a time when his legal troubles were reaching new heights. In addition to the sex trafficking charges, Diddy was also facing multiple civil lawsuits, with new cases being filed regularly. One of the most significant of these lawsuits involved allegations of abuse and misconduct from several women who had come forward to accuse the mogul of using his power and influence to manipulate, exploit, and mistreat them over the years. These accusations added a new layer of complexity to Diddy's already precarious legal situation, as the cases threatened to tarnish his reputation and damage his business empire beyond repair. As Diddy's criminal defense attorneys worked tirelessly to mount a defense, they were simultaneously dealing with the negative press surrounding their client. The media frenzy surrounding his case reached a boiling point, with new documentaries and reports about Diddy's past being released on a regular basis. The constant media attention, coupled with the intense pressure from the prosecution, undoubtedly played a role in Diddy's decision to take matters into his own hands. The allegations unfold: sex trafficking and racketeering. The current legal situation Diddy faces involves serious charges that have rocked the entertainment world. Federal prosecutors have accused him of being involved in a complex criminal network engaged in sex trafficking, racketeering, and the transportation of individuals for prostitution. These allegations come after months of investigation and surveillance, with prosecutors claiming that Diddy utilized his vast resources to control individuals and manipulate situations for his own gain. The case, which is part of a larger investigation into human trafficking within the entertainment industry, paints a grim picture of exploitation and coercion. According to court filings, Diddy is accused of being a key player in a criminal enterprise that involved recruiting young women for sex and using his power to force them into situations of abuse and trafficking. These women were allegedly manipulated and intimidated into participating in activities they did not consent to, all under the guise of glamorous opportunities within the music and entertainment industry. The charges against Diddy are not just limited to sex trafficking, but also include accusations of witness tampering, racketeering, and conspiracy. Federal authorities have revealed that Diddy was under close surveillance for months before his arrest, with wiretaps and extensive monitoring of his phone calls. These investigations have uncovered disturbing details about his alleged efforts to silence witnesses and suppress evidence that could incriminate him. In some of the recorded calls, Diddy can be heard using coded language to discuss his plans to pressure and influence potential witnesses, offering them large sums of money in exchange for their silence. Diddy's influence, political connections, and personal power. One of the most intriguing aspects of Diddy's situation is the vast network of political and business connections that he has cultivated over the years. His relationships with powerful figures in politics, including former President Barack Obama and New York City Mayor Eric Adams, have raised questions about the extent of his influence. At one point, Diddy was even awarded the key to the city of New York by Mayor Eric Adams, just weeks before the raid on his home. This gesture, which many see as an acknowledgement of his power and influence in the city, has led to suspicions that his connections with public officials could have helped shield him from serious legal consequences in the past. Diddy's ties to these political figures have come under scrutiny as the case against him has developed. There are claims that these relationships may have allowed him to avoid accountability for years, with some suggesting that political figures were aware of his actions but turned a blind eye in exchange for his support and financial backing. The recent release of prison phone calls from Diddy has shed light on his manipulative tactics, suggesting that he has been attempting to use his influence to further control the narrative surrounding his case. The phone calls reveal that Diddy has been contacting associates and using them to try to orchestrate witness testimony and sway public opinion in his favor. The leaked prison phone calls. A glimpse into Diddy's mindset. Perhaps one of the most alarming pieces of evidence in the case against Diddy is the leaked audio from his prison phone calls. These calls, recorded while he was behind bars, have revealed an individual desperate to maintain control over the situation. In one particularly disturbing call, Diddy allegedly discusses the need to get rid of the leftover pizza boxes, a phrase that, according to some experts, is a code word for eliminating evidence related to child trafficking. This cryptic language has raised eyebrows, as it suggests a deliberate effort to conceal criminal activity. In the same call, Diddy speaks about someone named Jay, which has led to speculation that he is referring to Jay-Z, another powerful figure in the music industry. However, there has been no confirmation regarding the identity of Jay, and the speculation remains purely conjectural. Diddy also mentions recycling plastic, another phrase that experts have yet to decode, adding to the mystique and intrigue surrounding his conversations. The tone of the calls suggests that Diddy is fully aware of the gravity of the charges against him and is attempting to control the outcome by any means necessary. In addition to discussing his attempts to manipulate the narrative, Diddy also expresses confidence in his ability to turn the situation around. He speaks about the last laugh and how he believes that, in the end, his friends will come to his aid. This sense of entitlement and manipulation is evident throughout the recordings, providing a chilling insight into his mindset as he navigates the legal challenges he faces. Diddy's alleged betrayal, a history of setups and deceptions. Sean "Diddy" Combs, the mogul of hip-hop and business tycoon, is currently embroiled in one of the most significant legal battles of his career. In court filings, former associates and those who have crossed paths with him have claimed that Combs has used his immense wealth, power, and influence to manipulate those around him. One of the most disturbing accusations to surface involves Moses Shine Levy Barrow, a former associate who is now speaking out against the music mogul. Barrow, once a rising star in the world of music and an associate of Combs, alleges that he was set up to take the fall for a nightclub shooting that occurred years ago. The incident allegedly involved Combs and his then-girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez. Barrow claims that he was wrongfully convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison, not as a result of his own actions, but because he was coerced into taking the rap for Combs's alleged involvement. Barrow's betrayal is one of the many examples of how Combs has allegedly manipulated those around him. The idea that someone would take the fall for such a high-profile individual suggests a level of influence and control that Combs is said to exert over his associates. This betrayal, which has recently come to light through court filings, has added fuel to the fire surrounding Combs' ongoing legal troubles, including the charges related to sex trafficking and obstruction of justice that he now faces. Combs' legal troubles. The denial of bail. As Diddy faces mounting charges, the situation surrounding his incarceration becomes even more complex. In recent court proceedings, Judge Aaron Subramanian ruled to deny Combs bail, citing concerns about his behavior and the potential risk he posed to the integrity of the justice system. The judge's decision was based on evidence that Combs had repeatedly violated jail rules, demonstrating a pattern of behavior that suggested he could not be trusted to comply with basic legal and procedural guidelines. The government has provided detailed evidence of Combs's attempts to manipulate the system, even from behind bars. According to court documents, Combs has orchestrated social media campaigns aimed at influencing public opinion and potentially tainting the jury pool. His efforts to leak materials that could benefit his case are viewed as attempts to sway the legal proceedings in his favor. One of the most concerning aspects of the case is the evidence showing that Combs has attempted to contact witnesses and victims involved in the case. Prosecutors claim that he has used third-party services, including non-authorized messaging apps and three-way calls, to obscure his communications and avoid detection. These tactics are not only illegal, but also speak to the lengths Combs is allegedly willing to go to in order to evade justice. Violations behind bars, the evidence against Combs. While locked up at the notorious Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Brooklyn, Diddy has been accused of engaging in a series of illegal activities. According to the prosecution, Combs has been using the telephone accounts of other inmates to contact individuals on both his approved and unapproved contact lists. This is a direct violation of Bureau of Prisons, BOP regulations, which prohibit inmates from using other inmates' accounts to make calls. The government also claims that Combs has been instructing his family members, attorneys, and associates to add other individuals to his phone calls. This practice, which the BOP strictly prohibits, is seen as a way to mask the identities of those involved in the conversation. By manipulating the phone system, Combs allegedly ensured that his communications could not be easily traced, making it harder for authorities to monitor his activities. Furthermore, Combs is said to have utilized a messaging service called Contact Me ASAP, which is not authorized by the BOP. Through this service, he allegedly exchanged hundreds of text messages with individuals, including people who were not on his approved contact list. These actions are viewed as part of a broader scheme to maintain control over the narrative surrounding his case, particularly when it comes to influencing potential witnesses and jurors. Health concerns, the starvation and paranoia allegations. As the legal battle intensifies, there have been alarming reports regarding Diddy's health while incarcerated. Some sources suggest that Combs has been refusing to eat in an attempt to draw attention to his situation. Allegedly, he began losing significant weight in what was seen as a protest against his conditions and a way to garner sympathy from the public and the courts. However, some speculate that his actions may be driven by more than just a desire for public attention. Larry Levine, a former federal prisoner and expert in prison consultancy, has suggested that Combs's behavior could be linked to his paranoia and fear of retaliation. Levine, who has extensive experience in the prison system, explained that when high-profile individuals like Combs enter prison, they often experience heightened anxiety and fear. Combs, once accustomed to a life of luxury and power, now finds himself in a brutal and unforgiving environment. This environment, described as hell on earth, has reportedly led Combs to become increasingly paranoid. MDC is known for its dire living conditions, with reports of violence, overcrowding, and insufficient medical care. The prison has earned a notorious reputation, with several high-profile deaths, including the suicide of financier Jeffrey Epstein, which has led to a heightened sense of vulnerability among inmates like Combs. Diddy's paranoia and attempts to manipulate the system. One of the most unsettling aspects of Combs's incarceration is his alleged attempts to manipulate his situation from behind bars. As his health reportedly deteriorates and his paranoia intensifies, he has reportedly turned to drastic measures to try to gain control of the narrative surrounding his case. His legal team has suggested that the conditions at MDC are unbearable, citing the lack of proper care and inhumane treatment of inmates. However, it is unclear whether these claims are genuine or part of a broader strategy to generate sympathy and influence the court's decision on his bail. Combs's refusal to eat and his growing reliance on other inmates for assistance have raised questions about his true motives. Is he genuinely concerned for his health, or is he using his deteriorating condition as a tool to sway public opinion and manipulate the justice system? His behavior suggests that he may be playing a dangerous game of psychological warfare, both inside the prison and in the court of public opinion. Diddy's attempt to escape justice. The role of his legal team. Despite being denied bail, Combs's legal team continues to work tirelessly to secure his release. His attorneys have reportedly offered his Miami mansion, private jets, and a $50 million bond package in exchange for his freedom. However, these offers have been rejected, as the court believes that Combs poses too significant a risk to the integrity of the trial. The ongoing legal battle raises the question of whether Combs will ultimately be held accountable for his alleged crimes. Despite his vast wealth and influence, the walls seem to be closing in on him. His attempts to manipulate the system, evade justice, and intimidate witnesses have only deepened the scrutiny surrounding his case. The question now is whether his legal maneuvers will succeed or whether the justice system will hold him accountable for his actions. The stakes of Diddy's legal battles. As the legal saga of Sean Diddy Combs continues to unfold, it is clear that the stakes are higher than ever. The music mogul's attempts to evade justice, manipulate the system, and influence witnesses have put him at odds with both the legal system and the public. His health concerns, his refusal to eat, and his growing paranoia paint a troubling picture of a man desperate to maintain control over a situation that is rapidly slipping out of his grasp. Whether or not Combs can escape justice remains to be seen. However, the case is a stark reminder of the lengths to which some individuals will go to protect their power and wealth, even if it means betraying those closest to them. The outcome of this case will likely set a significant precedent for how high-profile figures are treated in the justice system, and whether their actions will ultimately be held to account.